You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good evening, everyone. It's Rohan back for your NXT recap for November 8th, 2017. Thanks for having me for the second week in a row. Aria is back from vacation, and we'll be back next week. So let's get things started off with a recap of last week's show. There was a recap of the Authors of Pain and Sanity for the tag team titles. We got the tease of Roderick Strong joining the Undisputed Era, and the announcement that William Regal is announcing that War Games will headline the upcoming NXT report, or the NXT show. Our first match of tonight is Heavy Machinery taking on Chris Payne and Sean Maluta. Maluta, you may remember from the Cruiserweight Classic tournament. We haven't really seen him since. Pretty quick match, a couple of comedy spots by Dozovich, highlighted by him doing the biggest worm you'd ever seen into a big elbow drop. There's an avalanche on Payne by Tucker, followed by a springboard elbow, and a compactor with poor Maluta taking the pinfall. If this were real, it would appear that Maluta took about 900 pounds of weight onto his chest. That should kill a guy, but not in this world. We've got the robotic Christy St. Cloud with Ember Moon backstage. They kind of jibber-jabber back and forth, and Ember challenges Mercedes Martinez to a match next week. At least they weren't talking about Twitter comments, so usually they'll say, well, did you hear what she said to you on Twitter? And before they go to a break, they preview tonight's women's match between Kairi Sane and Billie Kay. And as they go to break, Kairi is walking down a hallway. She's passing invisible people. She's saluting invisible people. She's smiling at nobody. She's waving to no one. If I were watching this for the first time and I saw this lady in that outfit saluting invisible people, I would question her mental state. Which takes us to the match Kairi Sane versus Billie Kay. The star of this segment is the large gentleman in the front row who gets a high five from Kairi, and I've tweeted the picture out so you can check it out at Rowan Unruh. It's a large gentleman wearing a Los Ingobernables t-shirt. He's just the happiest man that you've ever seen, getting a high five from Kairi. So the match starts. Billie hits a shoulder block. Kairi comes back with a head scissor and a dropkick for a 2 count. The iconic duo are making high-pitched squealing sounds that only dogs can hear. There's a standing backbreaker by Billie a la Lex Luger. Kairi then hits a running spear, hits some knife-edge chops. Nigel, on the commentary team, compares Kairi to Kenta Kobashi, and then we're told that she was trained by, of all people, Masato Tanaka. So if that were the case, how come she hasn't been hit by 50 chairs? The finish comes with a spinning back fist by Kairi. She hits the insane elbow for the victory, which really does look insane, and if she doesn't start taking care of that elbow drop, her hip is going to be deteriorated within a couple of years, and she's going to need some serious pain relief. We get a backstage vignette of William Regal on the phone. His action figure is sitting on his desk, because who doesn't need their action figure with them at all times? Cassius Ohno walks in wearing a Cesaro shirt, and basically he says that he's been on a winning streak and he wants to test that winning streak against Lars Sullivan coming up at TakeOver. We get a recap of some past War Games matches, and they go through the history of War Games. They show clips of, basically a who's who of 90s WCW. We get clips of Ric Flair and Dusty and the Road Warriors and Sting and Arn Anderson. And then I remembered Tugboat was in a War Games match. We have a sit-down interview with Andrade Almas and Zelina. And for weeks and weeks, they've just been saying that these two have a business arrangement. There's a business relationship. So the interviewer just asks them, what is the relationship? And she basically says that she's known Andrade for 7 years. I know the real Andrade. It's like, Okay, so you knew him when he was in New Japan? So basically almost makes a threat in Spanish saying that he will win at TakeOver. We get the Velveteen Dream taking on Caesar. Is it Caesar or Cesar?
I think it's
Nate?
Cesar, I think.
It's Cesar? My son's doing a run-in on this. So it's Cesar Bononi?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cesar Bononi. This is my first time seeing Velveteen Dream work. I guess he's a fan of Prince, and his theme song sounds like it's sung by Tone Loc. He gets in the ring, he gyrates on the mat, he convulses. So he starts his match with a couple of uppercuts on Bononi, and they keep saying that Bononi is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. First of all, stop saying that if he's not going to use any of it. And if he is, then have him pull guard on Velveteen Dream. Really quick match. Dream hits a Death Valley bomb for the win. Dream gets on the mic afterwards, says that Aleister Black will say his name. Mauro Ranallo is hyping up that match, and he says, will Aleister finally say Velvet Dream's name? So, it happens to the best of us. We get a recap of Ruby Riot's ankle injury from a couple of weeks ago, and they show Ruby in the trainer's room being worked on by some standard athletic trainer who keeps asking her, will you be ready? Will you be ready for your next match? I would think that should be something that the trainer should be able to tell her. What happens then? Sonya Deville comes in and they banter back and forth, and they basically challenge each other in 2 weeks, which basically means in 2 TV tapings. The announcers come back before the main event, announce once again that War Games is coming to a sports entertainment ring, and our main event this week is Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong. The crowd gives Cole the Adam Cole, baby. So there's some strong mat work. Early on, a couple side headlocks, some chops, some forearm exchanges. There's a dropkick that sends Cole to the outside and a running shoulder block off the apron. Cole, he gets the heat with a super kick. Cole starts working on him with a sleeper as we come back from the break. It's at this point where I had to rewind because I thought that Nigel said that Cole has a lot in his arsehole. Turns out he was saying arsenal. A couple of backbreakers and some more chops during Roddy's comeback. And I'm wondering, is it mandated that all NXT talent have to do back press covers? It seems like every time someone goes for a cover, it's always that back press. And I've noticed that specifically in a lot of the women's matches in the last couple of weeks. So the finish comes when Roddy hits a jumping knee strike, and both guys are kind of straddling the top rope. Roddy picks up Cole for this side backbreaker, but instead of dropping him on his knee, he drops him on the connecting rod that connects the post to the turnbuckle. I thought that was really cool. He goes for the pin. Undisputed Era come out. They drag Roddy out, which leads to the disqualification. That brings out the Authors of Pain. They do a face-off with Undisputed Era. That brings out Sanity. They all brawl. Kind of just, setting up, again, the War Games match. All 9 men brawl for a while, which is highlighted by Roderick Strong superplexing Cole from the top rope onto the floor, onto all the other men. So, that's basically it. I didn't think it was as an exciting show as last week, but again, they're just kind of building up to TakeOver. So that is your report for today. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me, and hopefully I will get to come back again some other time. All right, and Arya, we'll hear from you next week. Thanks a lot. Good night.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.